Good morning, another beautiful sunny Tuesday morning. I guess it's fall in Australia, or autumn as we call it. And I'm with Sally Estlin, who's in Melbourne.
Good
Hi,
morning,
Sally.
Harry. And how did you cope after the weekend?
Well, one of the things that I tried not to overindulge in is Easter eggs because they're full of sugar.
Correct.
And that's the topic for today's discussion, is sugar. Now, one of the books I've got, I didn't. I put it back on the bookshelf. I have a book actually on my bookshelf called Sweet Poison.
Right.
Isn't that interesting? And I was, one of the things, just let me find this. And the reason it's called sweet poison is because sugar is highly addictive. And there were some studies on rats done the other day. I know we're not rats. I'm not a rat. Are you a rat, Sally?
No, never.
No, unfortunately we're not rats. But I guess we do lots of research on rats because they're easy and they can't protest.
Yep.
But rats were given, in a recent experiment, they were given cocaine and addicted to cocaine. And then the researcher put Oreos in, which is a sweet, sweet biscuit.
Yeah.
Not as sweet as a Tim Tam, but
they're pretty up there. They are super sweet. Ugh, it's not my cup of tea.
Anyway, the rats then switched to the Oreos because they were more addictive, and they left the cocaine behind. So sugar is very, very addictive.
Are you saying it's more addictive than cocaine?
Yeah, I am saying that, yes.
And look at just about everybody has got a sugar hang-up. It's a difficult one to kick. I kicked it a while back, but it's a real issue. Have you seen that Sugar movie?
I have. Yes, I have.
Yeah.
One of the problems with sugar is that milk contains sugar. Breast milk contains sugar. So we're hooked from birth. It's a conspiracy. Oh my God.
Boob milk. Oh my God. You can't win.
One of my favourite books is this book. It's called actually you won't be able to see it. It's flipped because we haven't adjusted it. It's called The Diet Myth by a guy called Phil Spector. And he's a professor at King's College in London.
Yep.
He's a professor of epidemiology. He's really bright. In his book, he quotes an interesting, and I'll read that. So this was a quote from the Amsterdam Health Services in 2013. And they say, sugar is the most dangerous drug of all times and can still be easily acquired everywhere. Just like alcohol and tobacco, sugar is actually a drug. There is an important role for government, and the use of sugar should be discouraged, and users should be made aware of the dangers. So what are the dangers? Well, the two main dangers which were identified by a researcher called Bray was that as our sugar consumption has increased, so has this epidemic of obesity and diabetes.
Yeah, totally. Diabetes, obesity, definitely. And, you mentioned it's like alcohol or tobacco. Sugar is something that anybody can purchase at any day, at any age, from anywhere, basically supermarkets. It's the most probably readily acceptable addictive product out there.
It's true. And the other thing is most of the sugar that we eat, not myself personally, but the average Joe, is hidden. It's hidden.
Sauces.
And you can't taste it. Baked beans. You have a look at baked beans. Read a baked bean packet. You look at how much sugar there is in it. It's amazing. Or the good old Nutri-Grain, eh, Sally?
Yeah. And then leading on with more family analogies, my brother works with a food company and they developed a sauce for McDonald's. And I had a look and he said, take it home for the kids. I said, let me have a look on the back of it. The first ingredient on it, which is always the highest, was sugar. Before you got down to, and everything else was numbers. Oh, I was shocked. I said, I'm not going to give my kids pure sugar. Gross.
And if you look at the next column, the column on the right, which has per 100 grams, you can work out the percent.
Yeah.
So that's a good point. So the first thing is read the label. Read the bloody label.
Yeah.
Inform yourself.
Exactly. And I think the daily intake suggested average is 30 grams a day of sugar, which is 5 to 6 teaspoons of sugar, which comes naturally in your food, so you don't need it added in. And I remember those juices that you juice up, get an apple juice or something. They have over 30 grams of sugar in them. When you look at the healthy juices in the supermarket, way over 30 grams. That's already your daily intake in one small drink. That's right. People sometimes don't realise how much sugar there is in natural food, like in fruit. Fruit's very high.
A fruit juice isn't a natural food, is it?
Yeah, right.
They've taken all the fibre out.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
So it takes me to another little rule: don't drink sugar.
Yeah. So number one, read the label. Number two, don't drink sugar.
So when we talk about don't drink sugar, we're thinking of fruit juices, which are really empty calories. There's almost no nutrition in them. They're a joke.
I know.
And soft drinks.
Yeah.
Even worse.
So much worse. And diet soft drinks, even worse again. Carcinogenic and all that. Oh my goodness. So
soft drinks are worse because they're carbonated, and that will pull calcium out of your bones.
Right.
So if you're at risk of osteoporosis, think about what you're drinking.
Yeah.
You've talked about the artificial sweeteners, and the NutraSweets, the sorbitol, the aspartame, the cyclamate, the saccharides.
Yeah.
They're all chemicals. They're all less well dealt with than sugar for our bodies. And if you have to drink a sugary drink, for goodness sake, drink it with sugar in it, not an artificial sweetener.
Yeah. What about honey as a sweetener?
Makes no difference. It's still got the calories. You're going to digest it much the same way. Fructose is more problematic, and that's the sugar in fruit. If it's extracted from a fruit, so without a whole food, because it bypasses some of the goalkeepers that we have when we eat sugar, and we don't get this sense of fullness because we don't.
So that hit that you want out of it.
Yeah, so that's why high fructose corn syrup in the US is so dangerous, because you don't know when to stop, because your body's not. The appetite-regulating hormones of insulin and leptin aren't released when you.
Okay, so going over that again, Harry, so I can get it clear. So when you take these forms like corn syrup, they do a bypass, so you're not getting the hit that you're taking it for. Is that right?
Well, no, they're processed slightly differently. You absorb them a little bit faster.
Yep.
So you're more likely to get blood sugar variations later. But more importantly, you're less likely to be aware when you're full. So you don't generate the appetite regulating hormones that you do when you intake foods with normal sugars.
Yeah, wow. So what's the good artificial, or not artificial, but the sugar replacements that people are big on using in cooking and stuff?
Sugar.
Just normal
sugar. sugar or honey. I mean, why would we put stuff that's out of a factory in our mouths? Why would we? I mean, the topic underneath this, is what makes us fat, which is why most people avoid sugar, why they take artificial sweeteners and so on. And so it's important to realize that actually fat doesn't make you fat, sugar does.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is tied up all with the, low-fat diets and stuff, transforming foods.
Absolutely. It's a whole nother topic, but you need fats in your diet and high levels of fats and protein. And the carbs, minimal. I mean, our body thrives on fats, and, our brain, our hormones, it encases everything. Fat's really important. So a good point, because, and it's the sugary foods, they do make you fat. Like what's in them, it's like, oh my Lord, it's donuts and it's chips. And as you say, sauces are very, very high in fat. And I like the analogy, actually. Someone said to me a little while back, You know, when you're craving sugary foods, you're craving sweetness in your life. You're lacking, you're wanting that sweet hit. You want that sweet satisfaction. And it's interesting when you look at it, you know, where do you sit in life and how sweet is your life?
Yeah, that's true. But, you know, you can also be stuck in an addiction. Yeah.
Oh, and as you said, it's up there with alcohol and tobacco. I mean, and kids, as you say, they're born with they're born given sugar with their milk.
That's
and
right.
you know, and it starts, doesn't it, in going shopping, and the kids just give me this, give me that, or whatever, or shut them up and give them a lolly, or you're going to parties and, you know, it tastes good. My kids sort of escaped up until about the age of 2 before they started going to parties, having these snakes, whatever else, all the sweet stuff, and tomato sauce. Oh my Lord, world's worst invention. Kids have it on everything.
But it tastes so good on chips, with fish and chips. Trying to kick myself with that habit. Yeah. But it's okay, you know, we can have a little bit of it. But and I think the other, you know, you mentioned you've used the word healthy a couple of times. Healthy fruit juices, healthy snacks. Where, you know, there's so much marketing around junk food that is labelled healthy. So I mean, the other thing is, don't snack on sugar.
Yeah.
Read the labels, but don't snack on it. You know, use nuts.
Yeah.
If you want to snack, and you're getting good fats, you're getting fibre, you're getting whole foods.
Exactly. The nuts are great, but you've got to be careful at schools with nuts. But, you know, the things like the yogurts, they're very high in sugar. All those squeezy yogurts, all the kid things that are the healthy brands have so much sugar in them, or salt. But you just only have to go into the health food section in like the Coles or Safeway or whatever, and have a look on the labels, and it is quite frightening, very frightening.
It is, so it's important to read the labels. Have a look at the percentage of sugar in the product you're looking at.
So I'm just doing a little notes here of a little summary of this. So, you know, when it comes to sugar and what you're eating and what you're buying, you know, first stop is to read the label, and then, you know, and then don't buy it. It's another one. Don't drink the sugary items such as the soft drinks and the health, the fruit juices. And what else? Don't snack on sugar.
Don't snack on sugar. That's right.
And don't use artificial sweeteners. You know?
Absolutely. You know, eat whole foods.
Yeah, eat whole foods, totally.
I mean, aspartame is one of the artificial sweeteners. It's 200 times the sweet as sugar.
Is that right? Oh,
yeah. Did a bit of research before today's session, as you can tell.
You have all the facts and figures, and it's really good.
Wow. The other thing I found out was that high fructose corn syrup emerged after the Cuban Missile Crisis, when the US couldn't get sugar from Cuba.
Is that how that's evolved? Right.
Yeah. So they started manufacturing an alternative.
You're a wealth of information. That's
from corn, which is subsidised heavily in the US.
Yeah. And sprayed.
I'm sure it is. Yeah.
Oh my Lord. It's a real eye-opener, and I recommend everybody to have a look at that sugar movie, because it is an eye-opener about how much sugar there is in food and how it can affect the body. I mean, you only have to go to the scene in the dentist's chair where 17-year-old, the anaesthetic's not working because his body's too numbed from his addiction to Mountain Dew, corn syrup based. Oh, it's just, if that doesn't turn you off, and yet he still wanted to keep drinking Mountain Dew. It was the most horrendous, confronting part in that movie. And the his teeth. And the kids are weaned in that particular Midwest or whatever, weaned on Mountain Dew as soft drinks, or given it juice in their bottles.
Yeah.
Knowledge is everything, isn't it? Knowledge is everything, and then, actioning that. Yeah. And really, really wanting to do something about it, rather than just going, oh yeah, this is what we should do, but going, why do you do it? And I know I got off sugar years ago. When I was pregnant with the twins and breastfeeding and, constantly a cow, I was just just consuming so much chocolate and chocolate milkshakes every day. Now I can't look at chocolate. I can't touch it. But even with that addiction, whew, mate, you just want it.
So no Easter eggs for you, Sally.
I had no Easter eggs and no hot buns. I look at chocolate and it doesn't even faze me.
We had one Easter egg, but it's not finished yet. That was between three of us. So it's still a bit there.
Balance. If you're going to go there, keep it balanced. 80-20. I loved it.
Yeah, just a little bit. Dark chocolate with mint. Anyway, it's good. Probably finish it this week.
Looks like the mice have been in there. Very funny. Well, Harry, let's wrap it up for today. Very, very interesting topic. Something that we really reading labels is absolutely read labels and then don't buy it. It's the easiest way not to eat it and consume it or have it.
Absolutely.
And don't tempt the kids.
And the other thing to know, just one last thing, is that just remember that processed carbs are virtually the same as sugar.
Exactly. Good point. That's like the donuts and the everything else.
The Nutrigrain. It's like the Nutrigrain in your pantry.
Yes. Haven't bought it since. Nutrigrain, cereals, all that sort of stuff. Biscuits.
The Macca's bun. Yeah.
Just remember, it never decomposes. How many bodies are just going to stay the same when they get buried?
That's right. Exactly.
Decompose. Scary thought. Well, on that note, well, have a happy week, Harry. A pleasure as always chatting with you, darling.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, Sally.
We'll research some more topics for next week, hey?
Yeah, for
All right.
sure.
See you, babe.
Okay. Bye.